Ah, highway encounter. Now this is fondly remembered, although on the Spectrum this is a bit of a flaky port, I think, although this really wasn't the sort of thing the C64 was good at. It's quite interesting, at least from a sort of control point of view. We control one of 5 Vortons, certainly not Daleks in any way whatsoever. We have to escort that little pyramid thing to the end of the highway, and the other Vortons will automatically push. It's your job as the guy you actually control, and you control like a drunken tank, by the way, to clear the way for everyone else. So how did we do this one? Can we shove the... Oops, no. Yes, and you progressively start taking over one of your remaining Vortons until you're down to the last one, and then you have to push it by yourself, which does at least remove some of the panic. Now, how do we do this particular screen? What happens if I... Yes, I can shoot this, but I don't think I want to. Hold on a minute, brain not working. I can't move these, but I can. The penny will drop momentarily. Shove these barrels into the way to prevent the enemies from hitting my guys. These guys can't be destroyed at all. There we go, the penny finally drops. Unfortunately, I still have to maneuver these into place, which is not as easy as it appears with the controls here. It is literal tank controls. Gently does it. There we go. And having done that, we can clear these out of the way and let our guys go upon their merry way. Or I could crash into something like an idiot. That also works. Try again. There we go. Success of a sort. Hang on, can I... Oops, I wasn't quite lined up for that, and that means everyone's going to run away from me quite rapidly. Come back. Seriously guys, come back. There we go. Yes, this doesn't appear to be the best port. It's kind of flaky with regards to the title screen more than anything else. The music cuts out randomly, and it's some pretty nice music actually. And as we'll soon see, once I've managed to conspire to kill myself, which I do in a minute, trying to figure out how to free this guy up without killing myself. So having shifted that one out of the way, you can now try and move the barrel to try and block him off. It's also kind of difficult to see which way you're facing. I'm not sure whether that's a problem with the fact that these are very sort of stereotypical C64 sprites. There we go, blowing myself up. And the game then appears to lock. I'm not sure whether I missed a button I should press, but I couldn't convince it to move on at all from this. Yes, the sprites, being C64 multicolour sprites, are lower resolution than the original Spectrum ones, which doesn't help matters. You can't really see which way you're facing. Anyway, enough of this noise. Carnage! Carnage, do you see? Yeah, this isn't the best demo to advertise your game. The full game, which actually got released on the front of the magazine about a year or so later, I think, is much more involved than this. You know, there's a shop, you've got landmines and upgrades to buy. But this is little more than Super Sprint with a damage mechanic added on. Plus, when cars crash into each other, they sort of both just like completely halt, which is a bit annoying. And, once again, it's a racing game where everything sounds like a lawnmower. Come on, I think this is the last lap. Or not. Yes, and crashing into walls just seems to bounce you around in random directions, which is a bit annoying. And then it immediately boots you out to the title screen with no sort of acknowledgement whatsoever of how you did. Oh well. Ah, Herobotix. This is a nice little game, but it's the kind of game that's gone horribly out of style. Namely, because it's one game that you really, really have to make your own map for. And the map is huge. This odd little thing is an energy recharger. This is a computer terminal that gives us a limited map of some sort, but not particularly useful at all, to be honest. Yes, was never hugely keen on this kind of flick screen thing, if nothing else because it has a tendency to just spawn enemies right in front of you, or at least unavoidably right in front of you. And you do have to make a gigantic map for yourself. Also not keen on the way that shooting drains your energy. Now this is interesting. These are teleporters and they have actual names or passcodes in order to use them. This one is Steven backwards, clearly. And yes, you have to type in the name even if you want to go to the one you're already at, which is a bit of a pain. Also a bit of a pain is when I'm trying to shoot things and instead log into the teleport, so I just have to plow into the enemies anyway. Yes, so because these are sort of passworded teleporters, you can with multiple goes at the game you can start piecing together a quicker route around and all that kind of thing. I do like the wobbly graphics equalizer energy bar. When that final bar stops wobbling around, we're in big trouble. Fortunately, we have found an energy recharger right in the nick of time. Unfortunately, it means we're going to have to sit here like lemons for a while. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. I do like the sound design in this. It's quite nice and oppressive. The sort of sparse sound effects. Now note that barrier to the left there. Because this switch controls it, but you have to press F1 in order to use it, a fact that was completely left out of the instructions in the magazine and therefore caused me some grief for quite a while. I think that is one of the 6 parts of some sort of super weapon we have to collect, or something along those lines. However, I'm very nearly dead again. And I can't actually shoot anyone without dying, because my energy is so low. And dead. That's fairly brutal. And finally, Battleships! Now, I know what you're thinking, what's the point? To be honest, of a computer version of Battleships, you can play it with, you know, a piece of squared paper or whatever. It seems completely redundant. And yet, I really like this. Hang on, diagonals? Could you have that in Battleship? You can now. It wouldn't work in the paper, plastics and pegs version at all, would it? Yes, this is just so neatly put together, it's very difficult to dislike. The presentation is really top-notch for something you could just have fired out of the door very easily. And this is the other thing that's kind of interesting. This is the optional salvo mode, where you can you get 4 shots for every ship you have remaining. And having done that, we get our nice little animation. An unfortunately unskippable animation as far as I can tell. Hey, a hit! And another one. Yes, the main problem here is the computer takes a bit too much time to make its selections. Plus, like I say, those animations are unskippable. But all in all, this is pretty much as good as you're going to get if you have to have a computer version of Battleships. Oh, I won, by the way.